The reason that disconnections are bad for our brains is because the way the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex works is that the amygdala has massive connection to the rest of the brain because the amygdala is responsible for our safety. It tells us whether we are safe in the world or not. So the amygdala is assessing that connection. And as soon as we get disconnected and we get triggered, and we'll talk a little bit more what causes that disconnection, but as soon as we get triggered and we get emotionally disconnected, the amygdala basically hijacks the prefrontal cortex. So all the communication skills go out the window, all the collaboration skills, we don't want to engage, or we engage with more anxiety. So our prefrontal cortex actually slows down. It slows down our cognition. We can't really create in a moment when we are disconnected. We can't really collaborate. We become very less productive when we become disconnected. So everything is important for us to understand that disconnections are bad for our brains, for our relationships, and definitely for our work life.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lola Gershfeld, and I help companies master the art of relationships so they can overcome interpersonal conflict issues and keep the talent they deserve.
What triggers our disconnections? The biggest one is fear of rejection and abandonment. This is very important to understand, the fear of failure, of not measuring up. So whenever people, talk about the feedback, I'm like, let me give you some constructive criticism. Well, it's great when you have a secure relationship, but it's very dangerous for the brain to hear that constructive criticism from when you don't have a secure relationship. And annual evaluations, I think they should be stopped because all of that creates a negative cycle of fear of failing or not measuring up. So there's fear of not being valued or appreciated. All of those trigger the disconnection. Fear of being misjudged or controlled, fear of being dismissed, treated unfairly, and fear of being seen as incompetent. So all of these triggers that can create emotions in us and create that fear of us, of not being valued or important or seen, can create a very difficult situation for us. And the way we actually behave to that disconnection creates more disconnection, because if we disconnected and we don't understand what's happening for us emotionally, we start looking at people, right? Like we avoid eye contact. Our tone of voice might change, it goes up maybe. The speed of speech goes fast. People stop sharing information. And often it's not that they don't want to share information, but it doesn't come to them because the prefrontal cortex is hijacked by this amygdala. So people stop becoming engaged. Yeah, that's a big problem. Collaboration, creativity goes down, motivation and enthusiasm, and obviously performance. All of those things are really the signs of disconnection. And conflict, is just the inflammation. The virus that is happening is emotional disconnection.